Hey guys, you right?
Okay, good afternoon everyone. Thank you very much for your patience following our delay in travel across to France this afternoon. If you have a question, please raise your hand and we'll come to you in order. We'll fit as many of you as we can over the next 15 minutes, and then we'll have Anthony Gordon with you just after that. Keith Downey.
Eddie, nice to see you. How was the journey? How was the journey over, and how disruptive has it been?
Yeah, the journey over was fine. It was just the wait before. So we were on the tarmac ready to go, and just the winds were too high for us to take off. So the pilot looking after our safety first, and then just as we were probably about to call time on and possibly look at an alternative arrangement, he felt it was good to go, and he got us here safely.
What was the alternative option?
Well, the alternative option was to maybe stay in Newcastle and fly tomorrow, but thankfully we got here today, which I think was the much better option.
How are you feeling about the clash now? You were obviously here a couple of years ago, total different situation then. Memories coming back from that evening?
Yeah, memories coming back as you walk into the stadium. That was I think a really good night for us, because I think it was a really great test for us at that stage of our development to go up against such a great team, and I thought we put on a really good display. I think there was moments, big moments in the game where we were backs to the wall, and I think we were reliant on Nick to make some great saves, but we hung in there and protected our lead for so long. Of course, the incident at the end is well known about. I think we felt really hard done by in that moment, but I was very proud of the performance overall. And
how are your two Brazilians ahead of the game?
Well, one's definitely out, so Joe won't make the game. He's had a scan. We don't think it's a bad injury, but he'll possibly be out for a few weeks. But he's going to see another opinion just to make sure we're on the right lines with that. So although he won't be out for a long time, he'll miss a few games just because we've got so many fixtures. Our other Brazilian is with us, and we'll know more in the next few hours.
Thanks, Keith. Lee Ryder.
Hi, Eddie. Just on this game, obviously coming into it on the back of a defeat, but I guess you're in these games to enjoy them. This is your reward for last season finishing fifth. Is that the way you've got to sort of frame this one, do you think?
Yeah, I think that's the way we've got to think about every game, really. We've got to try and enjoy every moment, because they're so precious. I think all the competitions we're in, as you go through them, of course we're in a Carabao Cup semi-final, and you want to enjoy it. You want to experience all the highs and lows that every game and competition brings. But I think the only way you truly enjoy it is if you win and you get through, ultimately. So you're seeking that experience, but you're seeking the reward at the end of it. And we're all determined to try and do as well as we can. This will be a great game for us tomorrow. It'll be another great experience for everybody. But we want to win. I think we're conditioned to think that way.
Can I just quickly check as well, very, very quick, on loans, the loan market. Is that an option for you in this window?
I think it's very difficult to use the loan market effectively for us. I think I've said many times, there's not too many clubs around the world desperate to help us, due to the fact that we're competitors. And so I think it's a tough market for us to use effectively. But it's not to say that we wouldn't look at anything if it became available to us.
Thank you. Damien Spellman, to back, please. Thank you.
Hi, Eddie. Sorry. The two games against PSG 2 seasons ago were both very different games. What did you learn from those two games?
Yeah, they were different games. I mean, I think the first one is well spoken about, really, the home game. I think that is the game that stands out for me in terms of atmosphere. Our stadium, the best, I think, that I can recall. It was an atmosphere that really helped us. inspired us, and I just think that lives long in the memory. Of course, then you had the goals and the way we played, and Fabian's goal at the end sort of summed it up unbelievably well. Seeing a centre half score a goal like that, a really special evening for us. And then this game was very, very different. As I say, I think Paris played very well and chased the game really effectively, but we hung in there and we showed all the resilience and the defensive qualities that was the hallmark of our team at the time to stay 1-0 ahead.
Thanks, Damien. I'll go to George Colkin, and then to Kieran, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, Eddie. Just on that game, obviously with all the injuries and suspensions you had, you couldn't name a full bench. You didn't feel able to bring a sub on. Was that amongst the kind of most powerless you felt as a manager on the touchline? And are you looking forward to it being a bit different this time?
It's interesting. I don't really remember that, as in you say those things now, but that's not my memory of that moment. My memory was, yes, I'm probably aware we had injuries, but my memory was a group of players that were committed. I wasn't aware I didn't make a sub. That's not forefront in my thoughts of the game. I remember Alex's goal. I remember it was being a really good team goal. And I remember coming under pressure and the lads really digging in and Nick making some unbelievable saves. I thought Paris played very well that night, actually, and you could see their qualities. And that's why I was so proud of the group, because very different to the other game we experienced where things sort of fell our way. Things were going against us and we were really strong. And that's where the penalty decision really stung us, because we felt it was unjust.
Okay, Kieran, and then to Mark, please. Thank you.
Good evening. The away form has been well documented. Does this feel like the perfect stage, perfect occasion for the team to really show their mettle?
Yeah, I think sometimes the bigger the game and the harder the challenge, the more you have to rise to it. It goes without saying. And I think, there's been, rightly so, a lot of questions asked about our away form and our ability to, as I said and mentioned in the previous game, our ability to handle pressure, to be resilient in times when we're not the dominant team. Probably haven't done that well enough this year. And then, of course, when you do get the moments that you need to show your quality the other way, this would be a really good game to try and answer some questions and to try and show ourselves that we can be effective in every environment and in every game that we play. So I think we'll endeavour to try and set the team up to do that. And then, of course, we need all the players to play at their maximum level.
Okay, just to Mark behind you, please, Kieran.
Hi, Eddie. Your performances in Europe have been a sort of marked improvement on last time in terms of the results in particular. How far do you think you've progressed in terms of being a European side in this campaign?
Yeah, I think the experiences that we had 2 years ago definitely helped us for this time around. I don't think we had anything to draw back on the first time. It was all new to near enough everybody. We had one or two players that had Champions League experience, but not enough to I think feel that we were totally ready. I think this year is different. And then you had the other big games that we've had domestically. There was a feeling, I think, from the group that we want to excel, not just participate. And I think that's a totally different attitude to go into the competition with. So I think we've gone in with a higher self-esteem, with a higher thought of ourselves, with a real resolve to try and first just attack the competition and try and get through to the knockout stages. That's been our aim. And we're on our way to doing that. We've still got a lot of work to do.
Okay, John Murray, and then to Martin Harley, please.
Hi, Eddie. How would you describe having to come here to play this Paris Saint-Germain team, bearing in mind what they've achieved and the way that they've played since you last played them? And also, what did you make of the way that they performed against the English clubs last season, and I suppose Tottenham as well at the start of this season?
Yeah, I watched all of those games last year and I thought they were hugely impressive. I think they're a team that we really admire with how they play, the manager's style, how he's coached the team, how he's evolved the team, how he's made some really smart signings to make them better. I think there's a lot to admire, especially their style, because I think they're quite unique with how they play. They don't tend to copy anybody. They're solely themselves. Very, very good football team. They've got athletic players in every position. They're technically very good. They're tactically interesting. So the ultimate test for me in Europe, this will be, I think, the hardest game that we could have played. But we've got to go in with the attitude that we relish that. And as I said earlier, I think we've got to rise to that occasion individually, collectively. We've got to be at our very, very best.
Thank you. Martin Hardy.
Hi, Eddie. We keep talking about these pivotal moments in your season, but this is 6 games in 18 days against the champions of Europe, the champions of England, the 8 times Premier League winners, and Aston Villa, and Tottenham, and Brentford, and in 4 competitions. Does it get much bigger and much harder?
No, it certainly doesn't get much harder than that. I think it's a spell we always knew we had coming. Of course, when we found out the cup draws and put the missing pieces into the games, I think a pivotal period, as you say, because the games are going to be on us before we know it, and we found that all through the season. But I think this spell in particular, I mean, just look at this week alone, where we go Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday. That's and look at the teams we're playing against. Huge physical demand, huge mental test. So I think we'll find out a lot about ourselves in the next few days, hopefully positive, because we've got to respond. And for me, we've got to trust the squad as well. I think this is a big week for the squad to step up and really show its worth.
And you talk about the painful moments in your career as building your desire to succeed. Does it feel like that's in that same chair as where you sat just over 2 seasons ago after that moment where the penalty so late in the game and the heartache of that night? Is it another situation that builds your desire to succeed?
Yeah, I think every moment does. I think not necessarily that moment, because for me that was a positive moment. It wasn't yes, the penalty itself was a difficult thing to get my head around at that time, but I think there was a feeling of we performed well. So I don't think that was necessarily a painful negative moment to sort of draw from. I think there's been other moments that have been felt a lot different than that, and that sort of made us have to change and review what we do. I think we come here in a totally different mindset in this moment, because in the Champions League everything is relatively positive. We've got obviously this game, and then who knows what's ahead after that. But I think we have to be positive and don't think about any other game. Try and just nail down our focus onto this moment. Don't look too far ahead, even though we know we've got big games to come. I think it's just about being really singular in our approach.
Thank you. Gary, and then to Craig, please. Thank you.
Hi, Eddie. You just mentioned, we were just talking about that night at St James's 2 years ago and how special it was. It would take some topping. But given what PSG achieved last season, if you can get a win here tomorrow, get through the last 8, avoid 2 extra fixtures, would that top that game from 2 years ago? Would it be even more special?
Yeah, I always say difficult to judge anything when you look back through history. I just think let's just take this game individually. We want to express ourselves in the right way. We want to try and win the game. We want to try and progress without the extra games, as you say. All those things are rewards for us. But just looking at it solely as a football match, we're pitting ourselves against the very best. What a great opportunity for us to show everybody and ourselves that we can play in any environment, home or away, and we can be effective. So I think we've got football questions to answer, and I think that's the focus.
Last one's Craig, please.
Eddie, the past week much has been made of the Bruno status. He is close to an invaluable player as you've ever worked with, and that you've got to be with him every day really to appreciate his true worth and his true qualities, some of which are probably unquantifiable by numbers.
Yeah, I mean, he is a very rare player these days, in the respect that he wants to play every minute of every game. He wants to win everything he does, whether that's training or game related. He's a positive guy, so even in difficult moments, he can quickly switch to disappointment, to positive, to the future. He's got that warrior attitude that he will fight for you. He will fight for the team. He will fight for what he believes in. And of course, then you put that aside, and then you go to the football player who's just a magnificent technician who, I say, Bruno's biggest quality for me is he wants the ball in every moment. He will go hunting the ball because he's brave enough to take responsibility. So I think he's got some great qualities, and he helps us when he plays. I would never say that there isn't a player that can be, not replaced is the wrong word, but I think we have to learn to play if he's not available. So I think that's for another day, but hopefully he can be, and he can make the difference.
Okay, thank you, everyone. We have Anthony waiting for you now. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Thank you. Cheers. Thank you.
Play against